Bonjour à tous, je me présente, je m'appelle Claire Hélie. Je vais vous parler aujourd'hui du projet de l'onde théâtrale, un projet que j'ai coordonné depuis l'Université de Lille avec ma collègue Margherita Laera, qui est de l'Université du Kent, et en partenariat avec la vie étudiante. Je vais donc vous présenter chacun de nos intervenants aujourd'hui. Donc je vous présente Rémi Laverseyn, donc, qui est responsable de projet à l'onde théâtrale, my colleague from Kent School of Arts, Margherita Laera, who is also a specialist in multilingualism and translation of theatre. Arne Pohlmeier, who is co-artistic director at Gents Productions.
Two Gents Productions.
Two Gents Productions, a writer and a director of the play we're talking about today. Et finalement, nous avons Géraldine Serbourdin, qui est donc responsable éditoriale de l'onde théâtrale, poétesse et auteure du deuxième épisode de l'onde théâtrale. Je vais peut-être commencer par poser une question à Rémi. Alors Rémi, comment est né ce projet ?
Alors le projet est né suite à l'appel d'offres du comté du Détroit, qui est un comité qui regroupe le comté du Kent, le département du Nord, la région des Flandres en Belgique et la région, une des régions, je ne sais plus le nom, des Pays-de-Bas. Et c'est à la base un comité autour du commerce et chercher des projets artistiques pour, on va dire, relier les liens entre l'Union européenne et l'Angleterre. Donc, suite au succès du premier épisode et du deuxième, j'ai proposé l'épisode 3. Donc voilà, on a eu la chance d'avoir à ce même moment-là ici, qui recherchait aussi un projet qui est la fondation de l'Université de Lille, qui regroupe l'Université de Lille, de l'Université du Kent et l'Université de Gand. Et ça correspondait aussi à leur envie de renouer des liens. Et donc, suite à ces deux appels d'offres, le projet a été créé. Au fur et à mesure, je vous ai contacté, vous avez contacté Margherita. Et puis à Trois, le projet est né comme ça. Margherita nous a soumis Arne. Et puis après, on a continué encore à trouver des partenaires parce que voilà, c'est un gros budget. Donc on a eu la chance d'avoir d'abord la fondation ici qui nous a soutenus, le comité du Détroit, la région, le département du Nord, l'Université de Lille, l'Université du Kent, School of Art, si je ne dis pas de bêtises, l'IET Tourcoing, le Crous de Lille, et puis forcément la compagnie 8, à qui appartient le dispositif de l'onde théâtrale. Voilà.
Très bien. Il y a d'autres partenaires aussi, je crois.
Oui, il y a la RADAC aussi.
Oui.
Donc on a j'avais cité les partenaires financiers, puis il y a aussi les partenaires institutionnels. Donc on a la RADAC, on a le qu'il, on a le Paper News aussi. Voilà.
D'accord, très bien. Et alors, comment est-ce que s'est passé le processus peut-être de sélection des candidats pour le projet ?
Alors on a fait une grande campagne de pub à travers les affiches et puis les mails. On a eu en tout de souvenir 110 candidatures. On en a sélectionné une trentaine, je parle pour les Français bien évidemment. On a eu une trentaine en casting et puis on en a sélectionné 10. Il y a eu 3 visioconférences. Et à la suite de ces 3 visioconférences, Arne a choisi 5 élèves, 5 étudiants, qui sont partis avec nous, plus 3 comédiens de la compagnie 8. Voilà.
Et il y a pas mal donc les étudiants qui sont impliqués sur le projet viennent tous de différents horizons. Est-ce que vous aviez ça comme objectif aussi, que ce soit une rencontre franco-britannique, mais éventuellement peut-être que les frontières ces frontières-là soient-elles aussi dépassées ?
Complètement, on a des étudiants, alors bien sûr on a des étudiants en théâtre, on a aussi des étudiants en langue, en culture et médias. C'est aussi cette chance-là d'avoir des parcours complètement différents qui viennent nourrir le processus de création, qui inspire l'artiste. Et puis qui aussi permet que les épisodes ne se ressemblent pas l'un à l'autre.
Margherita, can I ask you about your side of the project? So with the English student and everything you did from Kent and to make this possible and a wonderful experience as I live it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for contacting me. In fact, this all started with an email from you and from Rémi. And inviting me to think about a possible collaboration for l'onde théâtrale épisode 4, and I thought immediately this would be an excellent opportunity for my students and a really fun project. So I thought this would be an excellent thing to put my efforts into. So I was asked to suggest an artist to lead the workshop, and I selected a really fantastic artist sitting next to us, and also we decided that we would offer this opportunity to our MA students, the MA theatre making and the MA physical acting students, and all of the students that were available this week, which is our reading week, where there are no no classes. They enthusiastically wanted to take part. So we had more applicants than we needed, but Arne was really great at making sure that everyone who wanted to take part could take part. So we organize all of the logistics, and I have to thank the School of Arts and our technicians and for having us and for finding the time and the spaces for us. But it's been really fantastic so far. I've seen some bits of the performance, but I'm really curious about what's coming up. And I brought Arne to this project because I know that Arne is really excellent at collaborating and creating and devising together with people. And I thought the students would really get a lot out of this experience. I also found really inspiring and interesting the idea that we would bring together students from different nationalities, because I knew my MA students are very international. We have lots of nationalities, lots of first languages spoken in the rehearsal room, and of course English and French. So, and I'm particularly interested, as you said, in multilingual theatre, and also Arne has done a lot of that. So I thought this would be an excellent opportunity to bring them in and explore multilingual performance. So yeah, here we are.
And here we are, yeah. So neither French students nor English students will get any university credits for this. So what would you say this project more specifically brings to them?
I mean, it's not assessed, as you say, but this will be, I guess, the first time that they will have made created a play in 1 week. It's also an opportunity to
not just them.
So they will the opportunity to work with a professional theatre maker, the opportunity to work with people from different cultures, different nationalities, and also just a very intense week of working together and living together and eating together, and such a wonderful feeling of community when that happens. And it's also a really important theme that they've selected collectively, again, thanks to Arne. Climate change is such an important theme to think about. And actually, I was just chatting to some of the students outside, and they were saying, yeah, we didn't know very much about climate change, but now we've done so much research, and we think it's really important that we know more about this. And like, okay, yes, that's really great. I mean, it's also a great, learning opportunity to investigate climate change itself, but also I'm sure they will be incredibly grateful to both Arne and Yukiko Masui, who's the movement director for the piece, and grateful to everyone who's been involved for the opportunity to really learn about theatre making and creating together and devising and learning about a new process of making plays that is really collaborative. And they will no doubt use this experience in their assessed performances and in their assessments that are coming up later in the year. And I'm sure they will be talking about this experience for a long time.
Sure, that's true. And as a specialist in multilingualism yourself, how does this work according to you on stage? How is it possible to have that many different languages and make it work, make it into a single play like this is going to happen?
Yeah, as I said, I haven't seen exactly what Arne's been doing.
He's being very secretive about it.
But I love the experience of listening and hearing and different languages on stage. I think that as a migrant, I live my life in many languages, not only one. I live in a city in London where hundreds and hundreds of languages are spoken. And for me, the theatre theatre is about life, and for me, life is not just in one language. So for me, theatre should be multilingual, because in order to reflect life and contemporary experience, we should be speaking many languages. And also, it's about meeting others. Theatre is about meeting others, other cultures, learning from them. So I think each language expresses the world in a different way. No single language can be mapped onto another one. We have different concepts, different ways of phrasing the world, different ways of conceptualizing our problems and our everyday hopes and emotions. So it's really important to learn about how other people name the world. So that's in a nutshell why I'm interested in multilingualism.
Oh, thank you very much. So obviously your first language is Italian, and Arne's first language is German, so you are probably also very interested in this multilingual aspect for the play, or the fact that you would be working with students who come from, basically all over the world, because we've got 9 or 10 different nationalities and languages in a room.
Yeah, I think that for me, this experience of multilingualism is, I always like the triggering event in my life was when I was a child and I was living in Cameroon, ages 2 to 5. We just talked about it. And sort of being from a European background, a German background, living in a quite a provincial part of Cameroon in Western Africa, growing up, the experience of having like a language within my family unit, and then mainly French as a language that was what connected me to the world around, but then another like multiplicity of languages that was spoken in the community that I was living in. So multilingualism and interculturalism and the experience of migration sort of interlink, I think, and they are what shape my view of the world.
Okay, thank you. And so, well, you've got all those students in the same room, so can you tell me maybe a few words about your creative process?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's great to be here. It really is. It's I remember when I first heard about the project, I thought, well, it's a little bit crazy, isn't it? To create a play within a week of working with students that I hadn't really met before, and then to film the play at the end of the week, and then that film is transcribed and turned into a script, which is then published. So that felt quite scary. But the closer the project got, now that I find myself here in this company with you guys and with the students, I realize that, the sole task of theatre really is to be more present, to be more present in front of the challenges that are facing us, and to have the strength of that being presence to face those challenges. That's what I would like my process to be about. It doesn't always succeed, but I'm so aware of how this project is challenging us to be present. And that working with these students who are 19 years old, 20 to 25 years old, they are going through a really crucial shift in their lives, in their personalities, and they are going through that shift at a really difficult time. There's this 2 years of lockdown that has just happened, and so it's tapping into that richness of saying like, oh my God, yes, this might be the first time that you have left your country to come on an exchange project. This might be the first time you're away from home, that you're experiencing a new engagement with people. And then, of course, we're all operating in a context where climate change is real. I mean, the news are full of it. Of course, there's the Ukraine crisis now, which is also very present in the news. Obviously, there's a war in Europe. But this thing about climate change, it's not going to go away. So it's a very disempowering force. And so my process, I do need to come back to the question you actually asked me. The creative process in rehearsals is to also to equip the students to feel like what we are doing now in the moment has value in the face of this global challenge. And so I think the most important part of the process, which was aided by these 3 Zoom sessions we got to have in preparation for this week, was to articulate a goal that we're working towards. So we identified this idea that the COP27 conference is happening in Sharm el-Sheikh in November. And we said, well, what if we create a play that thinks about being the performance that happens at COP27 that changes climate change? Yeah, that creates an experience for all the delegates that are there that is more than what they are discussing, or maybe it's just the extra push that the delegates need to actually take some, I was going to swear right now, but to take some action.
Okay.
Yes.
And so working on climate change was your idea from the beginning, because I know that you asked the students a lot of questions before, and I was thinking that maybe this was also something that you got from them, something that they were interested in, something that you could all, that you all had in common.
Yes, I mean, definitely. But I was hoping that I could phrase the process in a way that they would be nudged towards.
All right. That's clever.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think that we I did this questionnaire that they filled out before the first session, and I said, what do you think, what are the things that you're worried about? And what do you think are the biggest problems facing our lives right now? And I think the most actionable issue that came out of that was climate change. They talked about communication, they talked about mental health, they talked about, violence and discrimination. But really the thing that we all were able to rally around was climate change. So I think, yes, I had it in the back of my head that we would do something about climate change, but I would have been willing to drop it if something else had emerged that would have been something that we could have all rallied around. Yeah.
Okay. And on this project, you've worked with movement director Yukiko Masui. Can you tell me a few words about your collaboration on this project?
Yes. She's out in the audience.
Oh.
She's getting ready for a separate interview. But yeah, so Margherita and I know each other from the Globe to Globe thing. So Margherita has a strong relationship with me through my theater company, Two Gents Productions. And initially the thought was that this would be like a Two Gents Productions project. But Two Gents is two gents, and the other gent is not available. And so I was really keen to continue this idea of collaborating, and so I decided to see if Yuki would be available, and she was, because we've collaborated quite a lot. We have a long-standing. I mean, we're married as well, so we have a.
And now it's out in the open. Everybody knows.
Yes, I mean, we've been married for a while, but we have, it's like we have a personal relationship, but we have also a collaborative relationship that has grown alongside, and it's a little bit tough, I think, because like Yuki's a choreographer, and the more and more I see her work, and the more and more I go see dance, I ask myself, why do we need to speak? When the body gets so expressive that it communicates so powerfully, so in a way it's an inspiration for me, because I'm like, geez, I really need to work hard as a theater maker to say, what is the language that I can find that is going to increase the experience when Yuki's put down a layer of movement underneath it, you know? So that's very, you know, it's not only inspiring, but it's actually, it's challenging, you know, to be like, okay, what is the expression that comes on top of it, you know?
And you'll need to find the words to describe the movements that are going to happen on stage for the book that is going to be issued.
Yes.
And what about the speaking parts maybe in a play? Where do the words come from?
Yeah, so I think that for me, you know, Margherita has mentioned the word collaboration. It's really rich, and if I'm going through a process that is about being present in front of the problems that are facing us, then I have to be present, and I invite the people that I work with to be present and to bring themselves. And that's really like a signature 2 Gens Productions thing as well, that like the personality of the performer is at the forefront. You see the person that is taking on the characters, that is telling the story. And so my process of creation in this instance was a process of freeing the voice of the performer, of creating a space where the performer brings themselves to the fore. And so it's recognizing what their journey is and facilitating a process where the way they come to the issue becomes visible. Did that sound did that sound clever, or did it sound confusing?
What is the correct answer for that?
Because if it's confusing, I mean, I just sort of listened to I was trying to listen to myself speaking as I was answering your question. But I think really it's you know, the thing that matters is that we need to come together, and I wanted to make sure that the students have an experience that is both about creating the piece, but is also about setting them on a journey where they start using this time to realize that they have the tools to engage with this issue. I think that feelings of pessimism are things that are spoken about when it comes to climate change. Feelings that it's up to the politicians, you know, like I can sit here and I'm like, well, you know, COP27, like if they can't get their act together, then we're doomed, basically. And to create a sense where, like, no, actually we can create work. So part of it was saying, let's do some research. Let's look at how is climate change affecting my local community? How is climate change affecting another part of the world? What is the research that I can do that will then underpin my performance? You know, we've got Ray, who is a lovely physical performer who just was really interested in emperor penguins and their movement, which is quite comic, but then sort of saying, okay, well, let's do some research on how climate change is affecting emperor penguins, how it's leading to their extinction step by step, how you know they cannot reach the ground where they can reproduce, mate and breed, and then bring that back into the performance. So it's about like this is an academic term. I don't know if I got it from you or from Penn Woods, this idea of the archive, the body of the actor as an archive. And so as a performer, I draw on the archive of my lived experience, my memories, my learning. And whenever I'm on stage, whenever I'm creating, I access that archive. And so this process has been about like inviting the performer to access their personal archive, but then also to enrich their archive through research, through learning. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a very beautiful expression.
It's great, isn't it?
It is. It's not yours.
No.
Oh,
But I don't know where it comes from. But I mean, I suppose is it not a technical term?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I could claim.
Let's make it technical and yours today, okay?
Yeah. Yes, but it's what I would say is that like in in the dialogue between academics within the field of drama and the professional practice of drama, that's like the reciprocity that happens, that like suddenly we discover terminologies or aspects of our work that are then enlightened by sort of that reflection through the academic lens. You know, and in this context, the idea of multilingualism, which is something that we're working on together, and we're going on a whole journey. We've been on a journey is really exciting because it helps to recontextualize and also kind of, you know, you get pushed to really bring something in. In a professional context, I'd be thinking about touring and I'd be like, well, I can't put too much French in my production because who will understand it, you know? Whereas here, out of the context of this process, multilingualism is a part of it, and that can be honed. But I think I've spoken enough now, so maybe I should take a break.
Yeah, just one last cheeky question. It's Thursday evening. The play is being filmed on Saturday. Are you ready?
I will be ready by Saturday. Well, I will be ready. I don't think I'll be ready. No, I think, yes.
Yeah, okay.
We did a run-through of some of the material on Tuesday. You were there for that. You were here. You were here. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
So I think that there's something about the courage and the joy and the willingness of the students that will take care of things. Touch wood.
Et donc cette pièce, elle va se transformer, je me tourne vers Géraldine, cette pièce va donc devenir un livre. Alors est-ce que tu peux nous dire quelques mots sur ce livre ?
Quelques mots, oui, pas trop, parce que tant de choses ont été dites, et tant de belles choses ont été dites, que le livre, en fait, sera le reflet en fait, de tout ce qui vient d'être dit. Il sera la trace, donc avec l'ambition que ça demande. Parce que moi, j'aime bien ce que dit Arne depuis le début. Et dès le premier jour, il a dit « It's crazy, it's crazy ». Et au fur et à mesure, il l'a dit au départ, je me disais « Mais c'est vrai que c'est une utopie ». Et au fur et à mesure, on a vu que l'utopie prenait forme. L'utopie prenait corps, en fait, au plateau. Et j'ai eu la chance de voir les choses, les gens, l'aventure se construire. Et maintenant, notre objectif, c'est que le livre en porte la trace. Et on le fera aussi, on sera prêt. Alors le livre, en fait, il sera dans le cadre du dispositif de l'onde théâtrale. On essaie de coller au plus près du projet. Et là, on a eu la chance de travailler avec Arne. Je tiens à le remercier pour son professionnalisme, parce que parfois, travailler avec des jeunes ne va pas de pair avec un certain professionnalisme et une certaine exigence. Et moi, depuis le début, j'ai vu Arne avoir en tête son projet et progressivement amener, mais de façon très souple, avec l'aide de Yuki, amener les jeunes à ce projet. C'était très beau, très émouvant. Et donc, il y a, le spectacle sera un triptyque, 3 parties. La première, l'individualisme. La deuxième, le deuil. Et la troisième, le passage à l'action, je crois. Hein.
Une sorte d'hommage à Pina Bausch.
Et en plus, c'est un hommage à Pina Bausch. Donc, nous, on a décidé pour le livre de s'adapter à la forme ternaire. Et on aura donc, d'une part, d'abord vos préfaces, mesdames, dont je vous remercie. On aura vos préfaces, on aura la pièce avec, alors justement la pièce avec les didascalies qui vont retranscrire tous les mouvements sur scène. Et ça, merci, parce que ça va être un beau travail d'écriture aussi, parce que les mouvements sont orchestrés, chorégraphiés par Yuki et Arne, et c'est très, très, très émouvant. Et il y aura le texte, les textes aussi. Et on a décidé de faire une troisième partie, enfin la troisième partie qui est le journal de création. Alors on tient à chaque fois à faire figurer ce journal de création, ce processus de création que vous venez magnifiquement d'expliquer. Il sera également dans le livre et comme cette aventure est une aventure artistique, mais aussi une aventure humaine, dont je peux aussi témoigner, parce que j'ai la chance, moi, d'avoir comme interlocuteurs les jeunes, les artistes, les moins jeunes. Donc, c'est extrêmement intéressant ça, parce que j'ai de multiples points de vue, et je peux vous dire que l'aventure humaine, elle se nourrit du plateau, le plateau nourrit l'aventure humaine, les soirées sont aussi folles que les journées, et en tout cas c'est très beau. Et je voudrais simplement dire aussi que voir cette utopie se réaliser, prendre forme, prendre corps, aujourd'hui, alors qu'il y a quelques jours une guerre s'est déclarée aux portes de l'Europe, c'est encore plus émouvant. Et encore, ça prend encore plus de sens. Vraiment, moi, je l'ai en permanence en tête quand je rédige ce qu'il y a à rédiger, quand je regarde ces jeunes, quand je les vois souriants, très présents. Arne a beaucoup parlé de présence, d'être là. Et je trouve que ça a encore plus de sens, quoi. Ils sont là, on est tous très présents. Et en même temps, moi, comme parfois j'ai un quartier libre, il se trouve que je vais lire, je vais écouter mon président de la République, je vais lire la presse. Et puis quand la barbarie est là, quand le bruit des bottes est là, il est encore plus réjouissant de voir que l'art est une réponse. Et le thème de Arne, qui est le dérèglement climatique, et le titre qu'il a choisi de donner, Can we change ? Moi, je le vis tous les jours quand je vois ces jeunes-là et quand je fais un petit peu le pas de côté avec la triste actualité, j'ai envie de dire, ben oui, là, on peut aussi, on est prêt, on peut changer. Enfin, j'espère, quoi.
Oui, c'est vrai qu'ils sont acteurs du projet à plusieurs titres, évidemment sur scène, mais un petit peu dans le processus de création. Et je crois qu'aussi, dans ce carnet de création, ils vont participer avec des textes.
Ils vont aussi participer, c'est pourquoi je voulais dire aussi, ils vont participer avec des textes, avec des dessins, avec des témoignages sur leur passage au plateau, autant que sur leur déambulation dans la ville de Canterbury, sur leur rencontre avec des étudiants du Kent. Et donc, je trouve une part dans le livre qui est toute fraîche aussi. Je trouve qu'il y a beaucoup de fraîcheur dans ce projet. Et vraiment, je tiens vraiment à remercier nos partenaires de nous donner la chance aujourd'hui, here and now, ik et nunc, de participer, d'orchestrer, d'accompagner ce projet.
Alors, peut-être justement pour finir, que Rémi, tu peux rappeler qui sont les partenaires sur le projet ?
Oui, bien sûr. Donc, il y a la fondation ICIT, Université Lille Nord-Europe. Nous avons le comité du Détroit, le département du Nord, la région Hauts-de-France, l'Université de Lille, l'Université du Kent. Nous avons la RADAC, le RADAC, pardon, le CLIC.
Le qu'il.
Le qu'il, ah pardon, excusez-moi.
Le centre de langue de l'Université de Lille.
Voilà. Le Crous de Lille et l'IUT de Tourcoing ainsi que le Paper News.
And Kent School of Arts, did we say?
Exactement.
Ouais. Voilà, bah, écoutez, je crois qu'il ne reste plus qu'à vous remercier pour tous ces échanges qu'on a pu avoir. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us here.
Merci, Arne,
for this wonderful project.
Thank you. Merci.
Voilà. Merci. Et grazie mille.
Grazie.